Who is the cult? Liberals, conservatives, MAGA, Democrat, left? What you going to do? Here's a story. Liberal podcaster reveals he scrapped interview with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they performed so badly. I'm going to break down exactly for you why the left is cult, the right is not. It's actually quite simple. In this interview, this guy basically says, we did an interview. It was so bad, we mutually agreed not to publish it. I didn't want to be blamed for her losing. He's basically saying, you are terrible, you are not smart, wow, you're awful, but I don't want to be ostracized socially, so I am not going to publish this interview. I would rather a bad, insane person be president. In the meantime, on the right, prominent Trump supporters, I say, are slamming the administration, the president, and even friends and fans of Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino are calling them out over the Epstein list. Trump is under intense scrutiny, with currently Grok saying on X, the biggest story right now is still the Epstein files. So you get these liberals who come on like, the MAGA people are in a cult. And they show like some random account that's got a fake avatar, and they're like, see, look, they're pandering to Trump. And then you look at the biggest, most prominent Trump supporters, and they're criticizing him right now, angry. In fact, Trump has been booed. Meanwhile, the left, they are ideologically homogenous and they fear each other. The right, a little bit. Here's the reality. Both factions, parent factions in this culture war, I know there's many others, libertarians, leftists, commies, tankies, whatever. There's always going to be some fear of being ostracized socially and offending your group. To a certain degree, everybody is concerned about offending their audience. Some are substantially worse than others. I would say this. There is nobody, for me, I will say like I don't want to offend my audience, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to pull back my punches and lie about what I think for the sake of audience. Maybe if I did have a bigger audience, it'd be a bigger show. But everybody to a certain extent is concerned about putting out something that would just nuke their audience. Like, I don't want to offend and piss you guys off who like and trust me intentionally or anything like that, but I will never pull my punches. I'm going to say what I think, even if people don't like it, and I'll get the thumbs down. It is what it is. People unsubscribe, some might subscribe. The left is different. And these are tendencies, not absolutes. The left is just going to be like, I better not publish this interview because it's going to make the president look bad or the vice president look bad. Here's the story. Kareem Rama, the host of the popular podcast called Subway Takes, recently shared that he was once approached by the DNC to conduct interviews with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. However, the interview never aired. Rama claimed the conversation with Harris was so bad that both sides agreed not to release it. He said he actually felt relieved, explaining that if the video had been made public, people might have blamed him for hurting Harris's chances in the election. Speaking to Stephen Bertoni from Forbes in a video shared online, Rama said, her take was really confusing and weird, not good. And we mutually agreed to not publish it. And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing. Do they have the video in here? They do. Let me just play the video for you.
They emailed me.
They emailed, like an email from the
DNC.
Okay.
And they said, hey, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are really interested in being on your show. I said, that sounds cool. Okay. I'll at least get to tell my daughter that I met the potential president of the United States.
Yeah.
And so I said yes, based on the fact that it would be a good story. And also, they both had good takes.
What happened with Kamala?
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that we shouldn't publish it. And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Her take was that bad?
It was really, really bad. And it was like didn't make any sense. I can tell you. It was bacon as a spice. Bacon as a spice.
Bacon as a spice.
Bacon as a spice. Amazing. They say, let's go back. Bertoni reacted in surprise. Her take was that bad. He says he had bacon as a spice. The podcast Subway Takes is known for its casual interviews with people in the New York City subway system, including both everyday commuters and celebrities. And the funny thing is, the dude is like a standard general interviewer. It's not a gotcha thing. He interviewed her, and it was probably nice to her. He probably just said, well, what do you think we should do about the question of immigration? And then she went, hell, bacon as a spice. Like, I mean, figuratively. It was probably that bad because this guy's not getting her. He's not a guy who's going to be like, how come when you were in California, you did? Yeah, that's not happening. They say the idea is to capture short, strong opinions or hot takes on current topics. The show gained popular among younger left-leaning audiences. Rama, who is Muslim, first shared news of the interview with Harris in November 2024 article in the New York Times. In that story, he said that Harris's team originally suggested that she could offer a funny or sharp opinion, possibly criticizing people who remove their shoes in airplanes. But apparently that didn't happen. And I remember the bacon is a spice thing. Now Rama's latest comments are shining light on what might have been one of Harris's more awkward media moments, even though the public never saw it. Some observers have also pointed out that this situation may help explain why Harris declined to appear on larger, unscripted platforms like the Joe Rogan Experience, the podcast known for its wide audience and long-form interviews. In fact, they said, okay, Joe, you got to come here. And Joe's like, I ain't flying all the way out there to do this. This is ridiculous. Critics suggest her team likely realized that such appearances would be risky if something went wrong. It would be impossible to edit or delete the episode, unlike with Rama's show. As of now, neither Vice President Harris nor Kareem Raham have responded to her media requests, including from Fox News Digital, which covered the story. While no footage or transcript of the interview has been released, Rama's description of it has sparked curiosity and speculation about what was said and how it might have affected public perception. I think the story was that, he's a Muslim, and there was a question about spicing foods, and she said bacon, and he was like, "Why would you say that to me? Like, that's a weird thing to say." Let me see if I can pull that up, actually. Bacon as a spice, the archive. Harris botched interview with Muslim influencer by celebrating bacon as a spice. That was it. They say for now, the mysterious unreleased interview remains a topic of online discussion. I want to show you guys this. I highlighted this the other day. This is a charting multidimensional ideological polarization across demographic groups in the United States. What you can see here is Democrat, Republican, black, white, male, female, young and old, high income, low income, and what does NC mean? No college and college. Okay, there you go. You can see that the ideological spattering on each graph is the same shape. What this is charting is they don't explain what the numbers mean in terms of where the dot is on the map. It just means your opinion is different. We can infer many things about it based on the different demographic groups and what we know about them. That is, among Democrat and Republican, Democrat being blue, the bottom portion of the map is Democrat and the top portion is Republican. Ergo, male and female shows us that among the lower portion, which tends to be more Democrat, it also tends to be more female. The Republican tends to be more male. We can then see something actually very interesting. And it's that young people lean towards a certain, it's split in the ideological, in this map in a unique way. Whereas Democrats and Republicans are typically top and bottom, young and old are split left and right. Meaning there are young people that are conservative, but they tend to be more Democrat leaning. But take a look at this upper cap. Let's say it's shaped like a guy wearing a hat. The Democrats have this weird double bubble shape. It looks like a butt. And Republicans have a cap shape, meaning Republicans are in a cohesive space. Democrats are in a split ideological space. They have different opinions. Young people tend to lean in one direction. When you look at black versus white, you can see that even white Democrats have different political views to black individuals. Black individuals still overlapping with Democrats, but their views are relatively different. The reason why I say this shows a cult is because you can see the strong Democrat cluster that persists in almost every map in the bottom of this. The right doesn't really have it. I should say Republicans really don't have it. Meaning, among Republicans, there's a group here that are Republican. Among black and white people, even left and right, Democrat and Republican, still overlap and share some views. Among females and males, it looks pretty broken up, to be completely honest. Young and old, different, but there is this persistent bottom ideological quadrant that exists among Democrats. It exists among largely black people. It exists among largely, I think that's low-income people. And so the reason I bring that up is not that there is a correct or not correct ideology, but just that when we're looking at how the left and right behave, the left has a stronger ideological core than the right. The right has more of an overlap with other groups. The left is more likely to delete an interview with a vice president because of social fears. That the left is more willing to do that. So while it is not that the entirety of liberals are a cult or the entirety of the right is not a cult, there are culty MAGA people, there are culty leftists, But on the right, it happens sometimes. It's a tendency. On the left, it's a generality. What I mean by that is, let's just say 60% of the left are culty and scared of social shunning, and the right, 30%. So when the left says you're a cult, they're looking at a minority. When the right says you're a cult, they're looking at the majority. That is my argument and my thesis as presented. Debate me, bro. Comments. Let me know what you think. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button. Share the show. Stay tuned. More to come today. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We'll see you all in the next segment.